and welcome to episode 174 of Gamers and Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Antony, and joining me this week, making his 2020 debut, it's the king of controllers, Mr. Stuart Burgess. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
Good evening. Happy New Year. We're still allowed to say that. I mean, it's the 22nd as we're podding, so we're well into this year. But I feel like I should say Happy New Year to all the listeners because I haven't been able to speak to you in this decade.
Yes. You had to skip our Game of the Year, didn't you? You were stuck in London or something like that, wasn't you?
Yeah. I was trying to get back to pod, but at the last minute I got called into a meeting in London, so unfortunately when clients call I cannot say no, so no. I missed out on it, but I did listen to it last week on my way up to London. I think I listened to it on the way up and then the way back, I think, so it was a very good podcast, so congratulations to the three of you. It was very, very enjoyable.
It was very fun. It was fun recording it. And it was also fun editing it as well. I really enjoyed kind of like editing the three streams. It was like when I saw it, I just saw this wall of us talking, and I was like, oh my god, what have I let myself in for? But I really enjoyed like kind of like sorting it all out and editing Steve and stuff like that. It was really good fun. But it was really cool. So what have you been doing since we last chatted? What have you been up to?
Well, I did Christmas, really. I suppose it's the last time we chatted on the pod.
Christmas. Yeah, Post-Christmas. Don't care about Christmas anymore. It's January, man.
I did Christmas. No, I suppose apart from the Christmassy thing, to be honest, it's this month's gone pretty quick. It's sort of I went back. I think most people did. I think it was it probably around about 6 or something like that, and it was literally like stop before Christmas, and then it was almost pick up the baton from where I left off. So haven't really done anything really truly exciting. Had an exhibition this weekend just gone over in Farnborough for the business, which was both enjoyable and tiring, and so getting out speaking to clients, potentially trying to line up some future work. So that was always enjoyable. We haven't done one for about 6 months, so it's always nice. It's always nice having to wander around the home building show and seeing what goodies people are having, and seeing some old friends, and seeing some new customers. So that was really enjoyable. Was there anything new? Was there anything new and kind of exciting that you saw there? Any kind of new kind of tech, or are you the kind of tech hub when it comes to these? Because I know when I went to where was it that we went to? Olympia, wasn't it? Where we kind of dropped by and saw you guys. You were kind of almost like the tech hub of there. It was kind of no one was as techy as just our popcorn. But did you see any other stuff there while you were kind of walking around? Over the last few years, there have been more of my friends, rivals, competitors, have all started exhibiting. So I've got to have a look at next year's show or the next shows, because I think I need to find another way to go in at them, because there's a lot of similarity now. It's almost like tech is the new windows and doors. There were so many of us this year. I think there was about 11 people doing tech there. So
oh wow.
So but I had to wander around, because it's a building show, you sort of, unless you go right into the crux of the product, you don't see what's going on. But there was some interesting stuff over there, like these houses you can build out of polystyrene and then fill with concrete, and that's your walls, which is always quite freaky, because you think, my God, how's that going to hold that weight? But it's always quite interesting, but then slightly stressful, because you've got to get in and out and break, put the stand up, break the stand down, and I because it was in Farnborough, I decided we set it up on the last Thursday, and I left it all working, and then didn't go up there Friday, because it's a good drive. It's a good like 2-hour drive from here, and then went there Saturday morning, and just like technology always is, nothing was working. So nothing had touched anything or done anything, because I wrapped the stand up. But it's like okay, that the doorbell ringy thing doesn't work for the intercom, and even to the extent that, for no apparent reason, the USB which had all the music was stored on it, which has become corrupted. And it's like, how can it be non-corrupted on Thursday and now be corrupted, and no one has touched it? All what would have happened was power would have been switched on and off. That's it. Whether there's a power surge which corrupted it in some way, I don't know. But so that was a bit panicky on Saturday morning, but it all worked out fine in the end.
Nice, excellent stuff. Sounds like a good weekend.
But I'm quite looking forward to. Is it? I'm trying to think now. It's next week, I think it is. Yeah, it's quite for next week. I'm going up to London next Thursday, I think it is, because one of my suppliers is having an evening. And an evening event, to show their products off, bit of food, bit of drinks, bit of networking. But it's all going to be based around the Crystal Maze.
Oh wow!
So we're all they're putting this, however many of us, into teams, and they're going to have to like a briefing and a Crystal Maze session at sort of like about 4:30, 5 o'clock for a few hours. So I'm quite looking forward to that, because I remember watching that, with I can't remember the guy's name now. The original host of it. I remember watching it with him, and then obviously they revived it now. So quite looking forward to that. So that should be quite interesting. It's like a bit different.
That sounds cool. I wonder if it's the same one that James went to a couple of years ago. I remember where James went to a Crystal Maze thing, kind of in London. I think that was the one where he lost his wedding ring. Kind of,
I remember
he had
that.
to ring. Yeah, he had to ring them, and they had to fish it out of the Crystal Maze. The bit at the end, which made me chuckle. That sounds really cool. That sounds so cool. That sounds like it could be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm currently taking my wedding ring off, so thanks for that. I'm
exactly.
Just gonna put it down here for the next week, just in case.
I don't know how it flew off. Mine wouldn't come off. I tell you, when I take mine off, I'm scarred underneath. Maybe it's just because I've put weight on since my wedding. Maybe that's the problem. It's not the wedding ring. It's just me. I've grown around it.
Especially when you come back from America in a few weeks, you'll grow even more around it.
I have to cut it off. That was just it's cutting my circulation. Actually, that kind of leads beautifully into kind of what I've been up to kind of like the last couple of weeks. I'll tell you what, it's just, I'm off to Galaxy's Edge for my birthday, and I cannot wait. I still, even talking about it now, I still kind of get like excited. I get kind of goosebumpy just going. But we have Disney tickets, and so on the app it says, right, you put your Disney tickets into the app, and then you can then book your fast passes 30 days in advance. If you're staying in a hotel, you can book them 60 days if you're staying in like a Disney hotel, but we're staying just outside, and so it's 30 days. So I kind of get that. I had an alarm on my phone. There was a proper countdown, and I was sitting there waiting. So I was like, right, I'm going to book myself into Build a Lightsaber. So I'll do the fast passes. I'll sort out Rise of the Resistance, which is a complete separate ball ache, but I'll do my fast passes, and I'll kind of book my lightsaber for 30 days. So I kind of went on feeling really excited. I think I was playing Star Wars music, and I kind of and then
in your
I went
Star
on, and
Wars t-shirt.
Exactly, in my Star Wars pajamas, and I was like, right, I'm going to book it. I'm going to do that. So I got all the fast passes. I was like, right, I now need to build my lightsaber. So I clicked on the link, and it showed you a calendar, and like literally all of January had crosses through. So I was like, oh wow, January's already sold out. Went to February. February had the same as well.
No.
So I was just like, I looked, I was like, this can't be true. And then I refreshed, and the 12th and the 13th appeared. As if by Disney magic, the 12th and the 13th appeared. So I clicked on the 12th, booked a time. I was like, I'll have any time. I don't care. I want to build a lightsaber on my birthday. Clicked on it, and it just went, at the bottom it went, oops, something has gone wrong.
Oh, no.
I was like, this can't be right. And then I did it again. Oops, something has gone wrong. So that's what I thought, right, I'm ringing Disney. So I rang Disney, not Bob Iger or Disney himself. Unfreeze Disney. I need to talk to him.
Mickey,
yeah.
help.
I was like, so I rang Disney support, and they were really lovely. They were absolutely lovely. And then she was like, oh, I don't know what to say, Antony. She was like, they're all booked out. And I was like, but how can this be? I've just got my fast pass. I said, I've just got that kind of like that slot for me to book my fast pass. She goes, oh no, the lightsaber you can do 180 days before. No. And I was like, and my problem was, it's like typical me. I don't want spoilers, so I didn't scroll down the page where it said 180 days. So I said to her, so Sarah Lee, or whatever her name is, no, that's a Gatto, isn't it? Yeah. Whatever her name was, I was like, are you telling me that I can't build a lightsaber on my birthday? I said, this is the reason I'm going to Galaxy's Edge. I want to build a lightsaber. Are you telling me I can't do this? And she was like, she felt, you could hear her, she was genuinely sorry. She was like, I don't know what to say, Antony. She was like, I don't think you're going to be able to do it. So she goes, just keep checking the website, just keep looking. So honestly, like, that was Monday, right? So Nicola came home, and Nicola was like, what's up? And I was like, I'm not going to build a lightsaber. And I was like, genuinely, like, my world has ended. And I was like, but I couldn't fathom it, because those lightsabers, they're like $199 each.
Yeah.
There is a whole bunch of slots. If you go to like April, you see they start at 9 o'clock and end when the park shuts, which is about 7 or 8 o'clock. So that is some serious money that they're making, like, every day. That's some serious parents who want their little kid to have a lightsaber. So I said to Nicola, I just don't know what to do. I'm distraught. She goes, look, in the daytime, we'll go there. We're in Galaxy's Edge all day. We'll just go there and we'll be able to get on. She goes, we'll be able to sort it. So anyway, I kept refreshing the page. I mean, I thought at one point Disney were going to email me and say, could you do me a favour? Stop refreshing that bloody page. So, and then I was sitting downstairs, and this was about Wednesday. So I'd had 2 whole days of torturing myself, like, I'm not going to build a lightsaber, like, couldn't look at the Fallen Order, like Jedi Fallen Order, couldn't even look at that game. And then I was just about to go to bed, and Nicola was playing something, and I just refreshed the page, and suddenly the 12th appeared. Out of all of February, the 9th appeared on the Tuesday, and then went, and then suddenly the 12th appeared. Yeah. And I was like, and I was just like, holy crap. And Nicola was like, what's up? I was like, the 12th has just appeared. So I clicked on it, managed to get a slot for like 9:45, and you have to put credit card details in. So I put my credit card details in. It went, oops, something's gone wrong. I was like, why? So I was like, right, I'm on my phone. It's obviously not working on the phone. The site was a bit dodgy on my iPhone. So I ran upstairs, grabbed my work laptop, grabbed that, and then the 12th had gone. So I was like crying again. And then I refreshed, and it came back again. And I was like, so it was obviously me who was kind of booking. And then I tried it again. Oops, something's gone wrong. So I said to Nicola, give me your login details for your Disney. So I did that, used the same credit card, and then boom, booked it. And I have never kind of screamed and run around my house so much. It was like, it became, Stu, it just encompassed me last week. It became the only thing I could think about. So I am building a light. That's a really long story. But the long and the short of it is I'm building a lightsaber on my birthday, and I was just like, and then of course Nicola went, have you tried to book a reservation in the cantina? I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that now. And then that was the same. It was like all booked out, and I was like, but I managed to get a 6 o'clock slot for that as well. But it was just like, word of caution, if any of our listeners are going to Galaxy's Edge,
consumer advice.
Yeah. Exactly, a PSA. I said to a guy at work, because he was like, are you going? And he said he was going in November, and he goes, oh, it's going to be great, I'm just going to rack up, get my lightsaber. I was like, right, book 100, put a thing in your calendar right now that says 180 days before, book it, because it was just crazy. It was just absolutely, but I've now, lunch on my birthday, or dinner on my birthday, we're in the cantina. I'm building a lightsaber. We've got fast passes galore. I can now relax. It was really funny. There was just this on like Wednesday evening. Once we'd done that, there was just this wave of just relaxation, and like Nicola was reading blogs and things like this, and it was just like, it was a real. I felt sorry for her. I did apologise. I said, I'm sorry, I'm so stupid. But
I could just see you on all the forums now, all the Disney forums, going right. If anybody is on this forum and it can't go, if there's any people like like some of the podcasts in America who live right next to Disney, and they just pop along for an afternoon because they've got the season pass like we get for Alton Towers and things like that. If anybody's booked it, it's not gonna, don't cancel it. Phone me first, please. Phone me first.
It was so bad that I went on eBay. I went just in case there was some douchebags that were on eBay, like selling it. I thought I'll just have a look. Luckily, there wasn't, because you do have to put your name and the credit card, and you can only. They need the credit card, so in order for you to actually kind of go through, you have to be that person, so you can't just like book a whole load. And so it was just like, but it was just so much fun, it was like, it wasn't fun when we were in the moment, we were in the eye of the storm, but it was fun kind of after it. Nicola and I just went to bed on Wednesday night feeling so happy, so now I have 19 days until we're on a plane.
So am I the only person participating or listening to this podcast now who is thinking that now Antony's gonna leave the said credit card in Tunbridge Wells whilst he's standing in Florida?
I'm just like, I am though. It will be with me. I'm very good. I'm very good when we're on the flight. My bag that I have, like kind of my backpack has everything. It is kind of, I double, triple, quadruple check that bag. When it comes to kind of flights and stuff like that, I'm so anal when it comes to that. Like I make sure I've got tickets, things printed out, Esters, all of that malarkey.
Well, I suppose with me, I've spent the last few years clearing debts and credit cards and things like that. So if I put something like a holiday payment on a credit card, because obviously you get a certain amount of financial protection, that credit card sometimes just sits in a drawer upstairs. It's not actually in my wallet. It's just I don't take it with me, because if I take it with me, I'll wander past something and go, ooh, I just chuck that on the credit card, and that's just dangerous. So I can quite easily see someone like doing that. Put it on the credit card, put it in the drawer. Have you got the card you paid with, sir? No. Where is it? It's in my dresser drawer. Well, you can't come in, sir. No.
I'll be like, here's the money, just take it. But yeah, no, it's so I now can't wait. It's one of those ones that is just like, it's very exciting. So I should be counting down to my birthday, but I am. But the thing is with Rise of the Resistance, you have to get to the park really early and join what they call a virtual queue. Okay. So you have to your wristband or your ticket has to be blipped before you can join the queue. So the virtual queue runs out in about 45 minutes to an hour, but then there's a backup queue.
Right.
So you'll go there, blip it at like 7 o'clock in the morning, you'll blip it, get through the gate, and then you'll be like, right, boom, you're in boarding party 27. Yeah. And that will be like 11 or something like that. So you have to, and they've got a really good app. Disney have got a great app which will kind of like push notifications. So you need to make sure push notifications are on. You join the Disney Wi-Fi. All of those things. So I tell you, if you're a parent, or as Nicola's finding out, if you're a parent, you really have to be on top of these things. It's not just a case of turning up to Star Wars Land and kind of, being able to do all of this stuff. You really need to kind of, a parent this day and age going to Disney really needs a bit of forward thinking and a bit of planning.
Well, I heard when it was obviously last year, but quite early last year, where they were saying that the sheer uptake in sales of advance bookings for tickets were getting to the point where just because you had tickets didn't actually mean that you were going to get into the park or see everything in the park, because it is just because you had Disney tickets for that day or for that holiday didn't mean you'd actually get into the Star Wars section, because it was limited the amount of people that could go in there. But
if you racked up to Galaxy's Edge at about 10 o'clock or MGM Studios, it's like kind of Disney Hollywood Studios. Yeah. If you turned up there about 10 o'clock, if you just kind of go, I'm just going to get up, I'm going to be there for the fireworks, so I'm going to go there about 10. Yeah. You probably won't get on the Rise of the Resistance. Yeah. And you'll probably have a 2-hour queue for Millennium Falcon ride.
Yeah. Yeah,
and it's just like, and we found all this out, because I was saying to Nicola, I don't want to see it, spoiler alert, I just don't want to see it, I want to kind of see it all myself, and but by doing that, I kind of almost blinkered myself a little bit too much, so I was a little bit kicking myself where I shouldn't be that protective. It's not a movie, I shouldn't be that protective of it, but yeah, it's all going, I cannot wait. And then the only other thing which really made me chuckle over the weekend was when we were putting our Christmas decorations away, we kind of cleared our eaves out, so we got they were all kind of, so it's all nice and clear, so much so that I've got a whole storage unit somewhere in Tunbridge Wells. I had a storage unit which has my comic books and old consoles and all my retro consoles and stuff like that, and we've now kind of cleared enough space in the eaves that I can now kind of like bring that back, so rather than paying someone else to store, I can store my comic books, but it's great because what that means is we went to storage, we emptied the storage with all and now I have all my comic books. They're down in the living room at the moment, and what Nicola thinks I'm doing is I'm bagging and boarding all of so there's a whole big section of comic books that were never bagged and boarded, they're just piled on top of each other. Yeah. And it's always been one of those things where I've really got to do it. So most of them are bagged and boarded, but I've probably got about 400, 500 that aren't bagged and boarded. So I am now going through 1994, probably about 1994, or I know even earlier than that, probably about 1990 all the way through to maybe 2004's comics, and just like bagging and boarding. Of course, that means reading a hell of a lot as well. I'm just like, I'm sitting there, I'm upstairs going, yeah, I'm bagging and boarding, I'll have it all done, and I am just literally sitting there reading old X-Men and Batman and Superman comic books, and it is joyous. I tell you, it's absolutely superb just going through these. And I love that kind of put them in bank and put them in, like, board them and bag them and board them, and then just kind of like have a quick read before you do, and it's just fantastic. And one of the cool things that I found is all of the adverts, all of the gaming adverts. Oh, yeah. You know, I'm finding things like for like Mega CD. There was one the other day which was for a Virtual Boy. Oh. You know, it was like Mega CD and Mega Drive, NBA Jam for the Mega Drive, and there was one called Rise of the Robots, which was this kind of, I think it was like ray tracing, back when ray tracing kind of looked very different to what we're going to get on Series X, and it was like a quote from like CV and G going, "Graphics have never looked this good," you know, and they were terrible, but it was so good just to kind of like read through these comic books. I'm just having, and then getting all the old consoles out as well. I'm just having a blast.
Yeah, because didn't you put on WhatsApp, didn't you, that you was it a DS you found? Oh, no,
it's a Vita.
It's a Vita, wasn't it? You found the Vita. It was like this message came through on WhatsApp to the listeners, and it was just like, found my Vita, started it up, playing this game. It's like, I think the conversation was, what are you doing up there? It's like, I'm putting the Christmas Nicola thinks I'm putting the Christmas decorations away. And it's like, okay, what have you done? You know, why are you in the loft? So I can just see it now.
Oh no, that was actually my DS. That was a 3DS, because I found a 3DS and a DS. You're absolutely right. I found a 3DS and a DS that was still charged.
That's amazing, isn't it?
So I've got a Vita, which I'm taking into London on Friday, but I got a DS, and I just basically just hit the power button. I don't know why, but I hit the power button, and it just came on. And it was 50% battery as well, and it's been sitting in a box for years. I think the last game that was played was like Spirit Tracks, and that came out in like 2003, and it's kept its charge.
Good old Nintendo batteries.
Exactly. I tried to turn the Vita on. It took me an hour to charge it first before it would even bloody charge.
That sounds like Sony.
And the irony, what was the first thing it wanted to do before I could do anything?
Software update.
Exactly. I was like, Sony just hasn't changed.
I was going to say, how many software updates did it have to do? Jeez, that must have been a few.
I went, go to the store because I want to see what indies I've got so I can download them for Friday. And it was like, you need to do a software update first. I was like, you just haven't changed. In all these years, Sony, you just haven't changed.
Love it.
But that's what I'm going to be playing next week. But Stu, what have you been playing this week, or kind of, I guess, over Christmas or this week?
Sorry, I'm taking it back to Christmas because it really has been sort of like out of the Christmas holiday straight back into work. So I've been doing stupid hours, getting back, and then just sort of vegging in front of the TV. You know, TV wise, I actually discovered I finished watching the Chef Show, taking it away from games just very briefly, they did an episode of that with David Chung, who does Ugly Delicious on Netflix, and then also does Breakfast, Lunch and Dinner. And I've just been addicted to watching his Ugly Delicious, and then Breakfast, Lunch and Dinner, which is where he gets together with one person, so gets like one movie star or one comedian or something like that, and he spends a day with them. So walking around their neighbourhood, they have breakfast, lunch, dinner together, and it's just been amazing. Even so, you know, at the weekend I was sitting meal for one at the hotel, and I'm just sitting there with my iPhone propped up and my headphones in, you know, eating burger and chips, watching Ugly Delicious on Netflix. So that's been really, really cool. But and then I also started watching season 2 of Lost in Space, which I love the first season, and that's really jumped back in. So I've sort of been, my sort of mind's not really been there to sort of start the Xbox up and play games, because it's been late back, early to bed, up early in the morning. But Christmas, I mean, obviously the last time I podded, you know, I had every intention of going back and finishing Control and you know, unlocking some achievements in Call of Duty and maybe playing Gears again. But I jumped into Battlefront 2 again. You know, I think we talked last time we talked about it, and I just jumped back into Battlefront 2, and I I haven't been on there for so long. It must have been a good 3/4 of a year that I'd missed a load of the content drops. So just some of the content drops from the last Star Wars film. So I can't think of the planet now, but it's where the AT-ATs are attacking the rebel base, and the Luke is standing on the sand, but he isn't actually there, and it's all that red and white sort of sand. But it's just, I just got so engrossed in it. It's such a good game. And just to jump back in, and especially as obviously. Last year I put the OLED in the house as well, so it was my first time switching it on the OLED. It's just stunning, gorgeous game. There's so much content on there now, and they were doing double XP. I think they still are doing double XP or triple XP. So it was one of those things. It was just, I was playing and playing and playing, and I just could not put it down. I was thoroughly enjoying myself. Did you jump into it all over Christmas?
I did. I kind of jumped in every now and then, just kind of check out some of that new content. Like I say, like just kind of like, I think there was Rise of Skywalker, and there was some other stuff. So I just kind of had I do the, the 40 v 40 mode. Yeah. I just do that, whatever that is, and just kind of have a play around with that. I kind of had a look at the co-op just to see what that was like, and that looked like it could be some fun. That looked like it could be fun with two, but that because that's almost like a horde mode, isn't it? It's kind of wave upon wave. So, but though just the big battles, the supremacy or whatever those battles are, I just kind of jumped in and just did a couple of random things, because I think similar to you, similar to you probably now. It's like I was kind of kicking myself that I finished Call of Duty, Control, Jedi Fallen Order, all of that sort of stuff, because I couldn't get a single player game. Nicola was happy playing whatever she was playing, but I was just bouncing around, really trying to find. I think I was talking about it last week. I ended up finding Yooka-Laylee, the original, playing that, which the original, which we're kind of been playing on the plane. But it's just like, it's just really. I just jumped in, and just every time, I think I stuck a couple of photos up on the group chat, because it's like every time you jump into that game, it just looks stunning. It just looks absolutely stunning.
For me, it was. I tried to jump back into Control, but it was that point where you go into a game and you're just like, okay, so what do I have to do again? And for some reason, I stopped it, and then I went off to do something, came back, and I just thought, I just don't know whether I don't know whether I want to do this. I don't know whether I just want to play something else. And what Battlefront did for me was it very rarely, it played the same level again, but it very rarely gave me the same game again. And there seemed to be there was a lot of people on. I never had to wait long for a game unless I went to one of the other classes. But as you say, the Supremacy or Galactic, whatever one they are, it was just straight in, playing, and I was getting, I was finishing sort of, middle to top third of the league every time, where normally I'm bottom, and sort of like I'm so far down you have to scroll down to the third page to see general letdown. But it just really was it really sort of scratched my sort of like quick play itch that I had. But
that's really cool.
That was really cool. And then I just I think it was before Christmas, I can't remember now, but I played Tracks, the train set game, and I think we touched upon it. And
we did. I think we because we were talking about how kind of it was a really good kind of quick 1,000.
And so I sort of got me thinking about those years that I sort of didn't fall out of gaming, but I didn't really game that much. I've sort of got I had my gamer score was in the 40,000s, I think, and I was a bit like, I could do with getting my gamer score up, and then I sort of Googled easiest Xbox achievement games. So I thought, well, what games are there like Tracks, which take a couple of hours to play? I mean, I'm not talking. I mean, I will say there was a few there which were like 20 minutes, 1,000 points. Thank you very much. But I thought, what games are there out there like Tracks? What ones can I find that are actually technically yes, you're achievement hunting, but actually there's some little gems. And
yes.
I just came across some real sort of like there was some games, some little ones. I mean, one of them I've got a list here, and it's things like there was Foxyland, which was quite good. There was Metagal, which was quite good, and these are sort of side-scrolling, sort of like almost 8-bit sort of games, which you sort of they're really simple to play. They're side-scrolling. They can be a little bit challenging. I can't think, there was one now which I haven't got on my list in front of me, but there was one where you had these different maps, and you were playing a duck, and it was Gravity Duck, I think it was called, and you had to flip the gravity to get to the goal at the end. Some of them were really easy, and some of them were really challenging, but. So I started playing these games, and there was, sort of like, there was a game called Tanky Tanks, which was just which was brilliant.
Awesome name.
Yeah, but it was just like, you guess what? You played a tank, and as a single player game, you played a tank, and you had to kill or shoot all the other tanks on the board or the grid. So a little sort of like a battleship type of game, but when you shot your bullet, it bounced around the map in like a Pong style. Right. So you had to be really careful, because you could shoot them, and if they moved, it would bounce back. And if you're not careful, it would come round back behind you. Because they would all be shooting. That was really good. And I think that one would be a good 2-player game. There was one called Mowing and Throwing, which was like you were two halves of sort of like a garden, a bit like a tennis court, I could say. And the idea is you had to mow the grass and throw fertilizer at each other. So that was a bit of a battle royale game. And there was the Fractured Mind game, which was the game which was released last year, which was it was a really good sort of a really good game about sort of people with mental issues, about people who struggle with mental health, and I picked that up because I heard that it was a good game as well as an easy game, but. So I sort of spent Christmas. We had 3 days. We had 3 days where we weren't seeing anybody. So we just found that like I'd bought my wife Kate a jigsaw puzzle of us in a pub, which actually I thought was really good, and it was really good. But it turns out there's a lot of beige in a pub, so it took her about 2 days to do this 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. She has actually turned around to me and said, "I'm not playing this again, not building this again." But no, so we had about 3 days where I was doing this, and it sort of became a little bit of I wonder how high I can get it. And in the end, over the Christmas period, my gamer score went up by 17,000 points.
Wow, that's awesome. Bloody hell, that's really cool. That's a really good bump.
It's so much so I can't remember now, but I remember tweet replying something to Xbox, the main Xbox Twitter, and even they came back with like a gif of someone like peering their glasses down, going, "That's a good score. That's a good Christmas score." Sort of thing.
That's a good bump. But that's a really good bump up.
But it was something that I would never normally do. I urge people to do it. Just I'll give the Antony I'll give you the links to the YouTube videos, and you can post them up on the notes, because actually, rather than it just being an achievement hunting thing, there seems to be quite a lot of people who every month or every quarter they go easiest game achievements of January 2020 for your Xbox score. But I tell you, it's worth doing, because there are some real gems in there, some 1.99, some 4.99 games, which they might only take you 20 minutes, or they might take you a couple of hours. But there's some real gems of games in there, some real good games.
That's really cool. Did you do the True Achievements My Decade on Xbox?
No, I tried to. I saw you put yours up at the weekend, I think, and
I did.
I tried to do it on my phone. And I logged in, and it just kept on coming up saying, "We cannot find your gamer name."
They had problems over the weekend. They had an unprecedented. They had more people sign up over the weekend.
Oh, really?
Than they have done like they basically doubled their numbers over the weekend.
Right, okay.
Because everybody loves stats. And what, if for listeners, if you don't know kind of what we're talking about, is that trueachievements.com, they did a My Decade on Xbox. So what you do is you can, and it's flowing quite well now, but you can sign into True Achievements and you offer up your gamer score. What they do is they do a breakdown of your 10 years on Xbox, and it was fantastic to see. I've played 385 games. My best day in the entire decade was when I got 28 achievements, some 1,650 in one day, and that was last Christmas. You know, when I was beating you and trying to beat my brother-in-law. Yeah. When I was in a battle with you and my brother-in-law, with Brad, that was my best day of the decade, where I got 28 achievements, was 1,600. And the great thing I like is it breaks it down by genre as well, so you can see kind of what genres you like. And I've got a really nice mix. I've got maybe a little bit more. I've got 27.6% of shooter, but everything else, open world, platformer, stealth, all of that is kind of really kind of nicely evened out. And my most played series, I had Lego, Forza Horizon, and Telltale Episodic. I really wanted Halo in there, but Telltale Episodic, Forza Horizon, and Lego were my kind of best. And so it's a really good. I've got 611 rare achievements, and it just really just like kind of shows you kind of what you've been doing over the year. But the best bit is in the middle of this report that they send you, and like I say, I do kind of urge you to do it because it's fun. But they have active months where you can see where you're active, and it's really funny. 2017, my Xbox activity, I've got. And it kind of shows it in the size of a dot. You know, how big the dot is on that month is how much you played that month. And 2017, for the entire year, I just have these kind of, they're healthy dots, but they're not very big. And I was like, what happened in 2017? And of course, that's when the Switch came out. So that was kind of like, you know, the Xbox sat there. But apart from that, you know, I've had some stellar games. What I kept doing was looking at like November 2014. What was that? What game was I playing then? And it was really good just to kind of see your activity. So that's on trueachievements.com, and that's just search for kind of My Decade on Xbox, or look for hashtag My Decade on Xbox on Twitter, and it will take you to that. But it's a real fun thing to do.
Yeah, no, I've just gone in now. Actually, it's registered me in there. It's not shown my year yet, but it's quite good actually. I've never realised it's showing me. It's showing me like your platform status, your achievement status. So yeah, here you go. So in where is it? In the 27th, on the 27th of December 2019, in a 5-day streak, I got 211 achievements.
Wow. Holy moly. My best streak is 13 days and I got 59.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's like my Forza Horizon is my most played game. But yeah, that's really interesting. I quite like that. I'll have to,
it's really good, isn't it? It's good fun.
I'll have to dive into that.
Yeah, the best thing was like the quickest completion was 25 minutes, and the fastest completion was 25 minutes, and that was Storm Boy. Do you remember Storm Boy last year?
Yeah. Yeah, remember that.
You pay like $4.99 and you just walk left and you get 1,000 achievements type thing, and that was just like, but yeah, that really made me chuckle. But that's my decade on Xbox. So anything else kind of, Stu, in your ginormous list that you want to kind of talk about before I jump into what I've been playing?
Not really. No, I mean there was some interesting games, but yeah, I mean there was some real sort of okay, this isn't great, and some ones which were a little bit sort of like, you know, there was a few there. There was a game. There was a few which you followed the walkthroughs, and actually, I suppose, you know, one thing I must say is, you know, actually, hats off to some of the people that are on YouTube who do the walkthroughs, because they're actually, even though some people might say that yes, technically you're cheating, and you're getting through the game quicker by doing a walkthrough. There were some really interesting walkthroughs on there, and there was a few I did which gave you actually some achievements that you wouldn't have seen normally, because you had to do this in this sort of order, and it was those sort of achievements you look at and go, oh, I can't be bothered to, you know, be bothered to grind away to get that achievement. I'll just leave it. So, you know, I would say, you know, to the listeners, you know, just go and try some of these most achievements. You know, definitely play Tracks, the train set game, because that was really good, and that's actually in our news a bit later on, isn't it? I think, because that's actually came to xCloud. I think that one's on xCloud.
Yes.
I would actually, that was a really good game, especially for a Sunday morning, just chilling out with a cup of coffee. But just go and just look at YouTube, look at some of the quick, easy 1,000 games, because there are some real gems in there, and and there's some great content creators who do some awesome videos that sort of talk you through some of these games. So no, that was me. So what have you been up to?
Well, I mean, since we did our game of the year, like I say, I'm still struggling to find that. I really kind of, especially I've got 3 weeks until I go away on holiday. I really kind of would like a game that I could just kind of go to, because like Nicola's really into kind of one of the games that I've been playing, and she's kind of really kind of taking it to the next level, and we've got more Overcooked coming tomorrow as well. But I have been so I've been bouncing around Game Pass, which is kind of a good thing to do, and try and figure that out. So I've been bouncing around Game Pass, and out last week, added to Game Pass was a game called Frostpunk.
Yeah.
So Frostpunk came to Game Pass, and what Frostpunk is, it's a city building survival game. I think it came out on PC in about 2018, came out on Xbox and PS4 late last year, but it's now been added to Game Pass. So something's in Game Pass, anything you lose is your time. I thought I'll jump into here and have a look. I was instantly hooked.
Yeah.
This is so basically what you have is the world has kind of, we're in the kind of the end days. There's been a volcanic event that has kind of forced us into a volcanic winter. So and so people are, what the first scenario that you play, called A New Home, people are fleeing from London, and they're in this crater. So there's this crater, and you have to, there's in the middle of it is a generator. And then what you need to do is, so you start off with, I think, about 40 to 60 people. And then, so the part of the city building is resource management. So you basically have to go, right, I'm going to send 10 over here to start farming coal. I'm going to farm some wood. And then what happens is you start getting scenarios. So they're like, right, you need to build tents for all of the people there. And of course, you need coal, you need wood, and all of that to then start building. And then you start learning new things. So the first thing you have to build is this tower that enables you to then start researching. So it's like a research tower. You put engineers in there, and you can start researching these new technologies, whether it's coal mining, whether it's a beacon to try and find more people, and it just kind of keeps going through that, and you get different scenarios come up. People will die if they get too cold. If they haven't got enough heating, you're going to run out of coal. So it's one of those ones where it starts off really lovely and quite calming, but all of a sudden you realise that you've overstretched your city. You haven't got enough resource. You're struggling for coal. The generator shuts down in the middle. So the first kind of the first 8 days are just so lovely, and you're just like, yeah, this is great, this is fun. But then suddenly I realised that I haven't got enough food, so I've then got to start researching hot houses, and I've got to start researching these like little kind of hunters that fly away and go and hunt at night, and you've got to do that, but you've also got to make sure that you're distributing your resource. So it quickly becomes, right, I'm going to take 3 from here and I'm going to put them over there. I need some more hospitals. I need to build that. And it just really is this kind of city building scenario. And towards the end, I mean, like, I started playing this on my own, and then Nicola kind of saw. She was like, "Oh, what's that you're playing?" And I was just, so I told her. So she was like, "Oh, I'll have a go." Towards the end, it was, I think it could have been a Friday night. It was 1 o'clock in the morning, and both Nicola and I, it was hilarious. We were on the edge of our seats, literally on the edge of our seats, because and like Nicola's just screaming at our people, going, "Why are you running out of coal?" And it was just like, it was so good. And my first attempt was abysmal. They all died. So I had this. It dropped down to something like -60, but I didn't have enough resource, and then my generator shut down. People died, so they sent me off into the wilderness. But then I was like, right, okay, what did I do wrong? And then I started to section off my area, because you have to build roads in the crater, and you really have to kind of like resource manage it and build roads. And when you build roads, you can connect more buildings and things like that. And it really is one of those games where you pause the game and you're like, right, okay, what do you want from me? What am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
And then you say, right, okay, I need to go and get steel. I need to get coal. So I need to kind of like build some mines to get steel and coal. And it's just those kind of things. And it keeps throwing these different scenarios. At one point I had a little bit of a riot happening in my town, so I had to kind of put some enforcement in there. At one point I didn't have enough resources, so it came up on the screen. It was like, maybe you you should enforce or create the law to send children to work. And I'm like, hell yeah, they're not doing anything. So I kind of sent my children to work, and then that was really good because then in each of the factories, you suddenly had another line underneath where you have people, engineers, and suddenly it was children. So all of the gathering. So I've got a coal mine. The coal mine generates all this coal or dumps out all this coal. So I had the children bringing the coal to the generator, and doing like that. And it's just one of those games. I kind of did the first scenario, and then I was kind of happy with that. And Nicola's gone on to the second scenario now, which seems to be quite challenging, but I want to do that at the weekend. But I cannot recommend Frostpunk enough. It was like one of those, like I say, it can't be Game of the Year next year this year because it came out last year. But it's one of those ones that has instantly hooked me. And the fact that like Nicola and I, we were watching, having dinner, watching something quickly, we were like, right, let's play the cold people, and that's what we call it. It's like, because it's like, at one point I think Nicola had like -100, it was just like coming in, and it was just, so you have to make sure people are being heated. It really throws elements to you, and this is not a happy game because people are dying and they want food and stuff like that. But and
there's child labour.
Exactly, and there's child labour.
Yeah.
But it's and at one point I got an automation, which is basically a robot, and it's kind of set almost like a kind of a Victorian kind of like turn of the century kind of thing. So it's kind of, you've almost got this like steampunk robot that you can then build an automation factory and build more of them, and they just kind of go and do the mines, because if you don't have enough resource, you can then extend the shifts from 12 to 14 hours.
Okay.
And what happens at the bottom, you've got a hope meter and a discontent, I think it is. And so when you're going to go, right, okay guys, we need more coal, we're going to do an emergency 24-hour shift, the hope drops and the discontent rises, and you're like, oh, come on people. And then I opened up a pub,
teamwork,
and the hope
people,
kind of
teamwork.
Yeah, exactly. I opened up a pub. I had to open up a pub, and it's just really good fun. And that's Frostpunk, and I was just like I say, it really has kind of gripped both of us, and it was just.
So you're both playing your individual games. You're not playing it together. Nicola's playing a game probably on the big TV. You're on the small TV.
Yes.
Yeah. Inside of the sofa playing that, squinting at the screen because you can't see it properly.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's one of the reasons I was on the edge of my seat. But the other reason was because I was just so kind of like, come on, we're just going to make it through this winter. and you can see up on the top right, you can see kind of when the temperature's going to go up or down.
Oh, okay.
So you know what's coming, so you start preparing. And then you can like build these little heaters that you can dot around, just so those people that are outside of the circle of the generator, the warmth can also be warm and stuff like that. It's really good. I just urge anyone to kind of give it a try because it's really worth a play.
And that's on Game Pass, you said?
It's on Game Pass. So yeah, it came out on Game Pass, last week, along with Child of Mortar and something else as well. But yeah, so that's kind of that's Game Pass and Frostpunk. And then the next game that I've been playing is Sea of Solitude. So Sea of Solitude came to EA Access. So anyone who has EA Access, Solar Solitude is now available on PC, on Xbox, and probably on PS4 as well. But Solar Solitude was a game that came out from EA. I think it came out early last year, and it's another one of those kind of EA does indie. So they've already brought us a couple of really good kind of indie games, but this is a game that's just a little bit different. So you play a young woman called Kay, and what Kay is suffering from is depression, loneliness. It's one of those real kind of mental health. You were talking about fractured minds. This is very similar to that as well. So you're in Kay's head because she plays this monster character. So she thinks of herself as a monster, and that everybody hates her, and that she's being kind of and it's all kind of very full of loneliness. But it's set in a very bright, colourful world when you kind of get to those bright and colourful bits. Otherwise it's quite dark and it's quite foreboding. But you then kind of play through scenarios. Like there was one scenario where there's this ginormous black scary bird, and that's actually her brother who was being bullied at school. But you have to do a puzzle game. It's almost like it's a platformer. It's a platformer and a puzzler, but you do it through this narrative. So it turns out that this bird was a brother, he was being bullied, but Kay was just ignoring him and not listening to kind of what he was saying, and it's kind of trying to make her feel better or be a better person, being less of a monster. And it just goes through, I think there's 3 scenarios, and it was just really kind of, I had my headphones on the entire time because it's just such a fascinating game. You know, I finished the first story and I just looked at Nicola and I was like, this game's incredible. You know, I'm sitting here really feeling something when I'm playing this game. The mechanics of the platforming and what you need to do are quite easy. I never got frustrated with that. Didn't always knew where I needed to go. It was always very kind of straightforward. But it was just absolutely fantastic, and that's like Sea of Solitude, and I really loved it. It kind of had the art style was very similar to what's that parkour game that EA put out, that they kind of put out another one recently, and but it's kind of very similar to that with the oranges and the white. It kind of feels a bit like that, and it was just, but it's not parkour. It's just a really good kind of action. Yeah. It's a really good platformer, and I was really enjoying it. So that's like Sea of Solitude, and I think there is kind of, it's got something to do with like the mental health organisation, because it kind of comes up at the start as well, but it really is kind of a look into what someone would be feeling if they kind of felt depressed, lonely, self-loathing, all of that sort of stuff, because those thoughts are constantly kind of, you can hear Kay kind of talk about that, if I wasn't such a loser, if people didn't leave, all that sort of stuff. So you are kind of, you're edged on and urged on through this story because you kind of want Kay to get better, and it's just or find some light, and it's such a great game. When I finished it, I was just blown away by it. I was blown away by it so much that I started playing Senua, Senua's Sacrifice, because that does a lot of stuff with that as well. And I was just like, I want to continue this kind of narrative that I've got, because I was just like, it was really interesting. And that's Sea of Solitude, which is now available on EA Access.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds really interesting. I might look at that, because it's as you were talking about it, it reminded me of some of the parts of What Remains of Edith Finch.
Yes,
that type of, like, I can remember in that where you're the bird swooping down and catching the rabbits, and and you've got the voice talking, and sometimes I just like stumbling across these little gems. I can't think why. I was listening to a podcast today, and there was someone saying about how they wish Game Pass can give them suggestions and recommendations. Did I imagine this, or was there a conversation on one of our groups about the fact that there's now a random button on the Xbox where it suggests a game for you to play?
There was supposed to be a random. If you go to the Game Pass tab, there was supposed to be a random game, so you can basically just go into Game Pass, hit random, and then it's supposed to give you that. But I haven't seen it. I think I saw it on the dashboard, and then there was an update, and I don't know if it's gone. But no, there definitely is. And the game I was thinking about was Mirror's Edge.
That's it.
Because I think it was like that kind of Unity art style that they've got.
Because I think that would be, I don't know. I think that over Christmas I was quite, finding these little gems, and I've just, whilst you've been doing that, I've just downloaded, my most played games were Forza Horizon, Call of Duty, and Battlefield. Now, they're all great games, but they're all mainstream, and I think that. I think what with like Netflix and things like that, where it comes up and goes, because you watched Lost in Space, you might like to watch this. And I think the one thing, if it's not already in the works or already can be done, I think what would be good is if somehow Microsoft put an algorithm into the Xbox or into just their gaming, whether it's PC or multi-platform, but it just said, okay, because you've played this and because you've played that, and they could base it on your whole library or just your Game Pass games, that when you press that random button, it goes, well, because you played Forza Horizon, you might like to play Burnout, let's say, for argument's sake. I think that would be really good. I think because that would be so rather than just hitting a random and just getting a random game which is not based on anything, if it gave it based on some sort of algorithm, that would be awesome. That would be a really good seller.
Absolutely, that'd be really cool. Like, you played Frostpunk, you might like, City Skylines, that sort of stuff, and that kind of like building game. But like I say, I mean, both those games really kind of, I felt it was a really good kind of couple of days gaming, kind of playing both of those. And like I say, I'm now trying to find. I fired up Just Cause 4 last night and I played about an hour and a half of that, and it was okay, but then suddenly the camera angle seemed to kind of become very challenging, and I was just like, no, I'm not interested. I'm desperate to try and find that kind of like that single player kind of game. I'm looking at Assassin's Creed. I'm looking at all those
game.
kind of.
That's a good game, but did Nicola play it in the end, or didn't she not play it?
No. She played God of War, then got angry and played Zelda. So she played Zelda.
Assassin's Creed is brilliant. I mean, the last one was I think I must have spent a good 80 hours in that. And I don't think I even touched the surface. And hearing some of the leaks that are around about Assassin's Ragnarok,
yes,
that sounds interesting. But it's like they mentioned the sailing's still there, and I'm like, I hated the sailing. When you had to sail from island to island, you're just like, you could press the button and go quicker, but you still had to listen to someone talking. It's like, can't I just fast travel? It's like, just get me there quicker.
Yes,
but yeah, that's a massive game. That will definitely keep you busy for the 3 weeks if you played it every day.
Yeah. Exactly. I just kind of want something where I'm like looking forward to kind of jumping into. Do you know? Like I kind of like because right now, like I say, Nicola's kind of. I should just maybe stick with Frostpunk and do the other scenarios, because Nicola's like, right, I want to play this. We're kind of, and then so she's like jumped into a game, and I'm still kind of just looking through my back library, going, well, maybe I'll play, because we haven't played Borderlands. We never kind of went back into that because we were doing other stuff over Christmas. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll play that, and then I played it on my own, and I was like, no, I don't like playing this. It's that I just keep kind of jumping in and out. I will find something.
I did jump into Rage 2. I think it was because there was some rewards tied to it, and I hadn't played it, so I did jump into Rage 2 and just quickly skiff through the beginning and got my achievements that I needed. Yeah. But there was part of me that thought, I might jump back into that. But I think we were both in the same camp. And I think we're both still in the same camp, where you're just like, you're trying to find something to play, but you've sort of like all the good games, all the games you knew about, you played before Christmas, and as our first news article will round up, it's a bit like, what's coming? What are we going to play? What can I get my teeth into? Because at the moment, I don't think I can get my teeth into anything.
Everything else is being delayed, which takes us lovely. If James was here, he would scream because we're going to segue. But let's jump into the news. But before we start the news, don't forget you can rate, review, and subscribe to this very podcast for free on iTunes, Spotify, and also in YouTube. As Stu was alluding to in the news section, 2020 is becoming a big year for delays, but it's also going to be a big year for Sonic. Project X Cloud becomes a Stadia beta, and Series X exposes its ports for the very first time. But I guess the first piece of news is with both of us, and that's while we we missed a pod last week, so while we haven't been podding, we've had delays
every day.
We have every day there was a new delay. One day there was two. It was like buses, they all just kind of came at once. So we've had Cyberpunk has moved now to September, so to September 17th. Marvel Avengers has also moved to September the 4th. I mean, if you look at the list, and we'll get to some more in a moment, all of the games that were like Iron Man, Final Fantasy, Cyberpunk, and Marvel Avengers have all delayed. We'll talk about those more in a moment. But they're all the games that we were excited about at EGX. It's like we want to play that. That's been delayed. It's just like, I've kept hold of my PSVR because I want to play Iron Man VR. And now it's kind of moving. It's not a big move, but it's moved to 15th. I mean, I think it's fair to say that we need to kind of caveat this, is that we'd rather have a good game. We'd rather wait for a good game than have a game that's released and it's a bad game. It's like the Miyamoto quote that everyone's quoting these days is, a good game is always good. A delayed game is eventually good. A bad game is always bad. Something like that. I've just bastardized that, but it's that kind of thing. But delays. Like Cyberpunk was the biggest, kind of Cyberpunk. CD Projekt Red came out and just said the world is there, it's all kind of formed, but we're just having some problems. So they're moving that to September.
I methat was a massive world. I mean, we sat in on the conference, didn't we, where they showed you something, talked you through it, and I would go back to Assassin's Creed just a minute ago. That is a big world, but this just looked like it felt like it felt like I suppose with like God of War and games like that, you felt that there was an open to it, but you always felt that you were fenced in a bit. Where I got from Cyberpunk was that you literally could walk through that door over there. It would be open. You could walk through it. You could climb up to the third tower in that skyscraper, and you would find something there. So I'm not surprised it's been delayed, but I was so looking forward to that game.
Yes, yeah, me too. I mean, that was going to be April, wasn't it? So we had a bit of a time, and of course before all of this, Ubisoft moved all of their titles out as well. So we had Watch Dogs has moved out, Gods and Monsters kind of got moved out as well. But I kind of feel that obviously all of these need polish. Have the time. I'd rather them polish the game and be comfortable with it rather than patching it after and after. Look at Star Wars. Star Wars Jedi. They've released another patch now. One of the patch notes I read the other day, because I'm always waiting for maybe a new game plus, especially in the funk that I'm in right now. And it was like to stop Cal from falling through the worlds, in Kashyyyk. And I'm like, I could have really done with that. So that is a good game that maybe could have done with just a little bit more polish. But glad it came out when it did. But the problem that I have with Marvel Avengers, which looks like it's going to be a big game, looks like it's going to be very much a Destiny game as well, and Cyberpunk is going to be huge. We're getting very close to Series X, to PlayStation 5. Now, for me, I don't know about you, Stu, but Cyberpunk, in my head, Cyberpunk is a download. I pre-ordered it already on Xbox. Cyberpunk's 2077, I pre-ordered it already. It's going to be a digital download. Does that mean the day I turn on my Series X, it's going to be there already? It might not be as shiny, it might not be as ray traced, because I know CD Projekt Red have said that they'll do that later. But for me, I'm not too worried, because I kind of have a feeling the way that Phil Spencer's been talking is that Marvel Avengers and Cyberpunk will just come with me to Series X, and I won't need to kind of straddle two consoles. I'll just be able to fire up Series X and it will be there ready. If I take my hard drive, similar to what they did with the Xbox to the S to the X, I could take my hard drive out, plug that into my new console, and my library's there, and it's all there.
I think it's. I think that definitely will. Worst case scenario, it'll be that if it's not on your hard drive, you just re-download it again. For me, it's getting to that point now where September's really close to October and November, and I've still not seen the latest Star Wars movie. I've still not seen Endgame. I've still not seen Joker, and it's sitting on my server up at the cinema. I'm getting to that point now where it's like, okay, so do I just wait? Do I just not play these on the Xbox One, and I'll wait till the Xbox Series X comes out? But then it's like, okay, so let's say that's November. I'm also going to be having Call of Duty then, and I'm also going to be having an EA game, a Battlefront or a Battlefield or something like that. So all of a sudden, I potentially have got 4 games in November that are big games, but I don't know whether I want to play. Maybe Marvel Avengers, but Cyberpunk, I don't know if I want to play that on the X. I think I might want to wait for the Series X. But what's that graphical bump going to be? It's just, I agree. Let's delay them. If it's not ready, give people value for money. It'd be interesting to see what Steve thinks if he's playing Star Wars at the moment, because I think, as you alluded to in the last pod, he's probably got the game at his best time to play it, because he's not getting the things that we had. But yeah, it is a bit now. Okay, that's getting busy. Those last 4 months of this year are really busy now, and there's new consoles, and there's the PlayStation as well.
But for me, for Cyberpunk being in that kind of March and April, I was really looking forward to just playing that, and throughout the summer, just playing Cyberpunk, because I always find I know why they do it. I know why we don't get a lot of big games in the summer. But I would rather kind of play throughout the year. So Cyberpunk was going to be one of those ones. Marvel Avengers are probably, we enjoyed that at EGX, so I'll probably play through the single player game quite quickly, and then the rest will be, right, Stuart, you online, Steve, James, whoever's jumping in, just kind of like jump in, let's kind of play, let's do some of the missions, because we're very much like Destiny, we need to kind of grind to get to that raid, whatever we're doing in Marvel Avengers. I could see that happening. But then when Cyberpunk comes out, we're all going to be Solitude, because we're all going to be solo playing, and I can't wait to jump into Cyberpunk, so I don't think I have the willpower to wait. But all I'm thinking is it's not that bad, because I'll just be able to download that and play it on the Series X. Now, I could be completely wrong, and there might be just compatible, but with Microsoft last week saying that there's going to be no Series X exclusives for a year, makes me think that they are looking after this mid-generation people who've just bought an Xbox are going to still have another year of Xbox games, rather than have, and also for publishers as well, even though it probably having all of these different consoles out means that poor James, for Sea of Thieves, he has to kind of like do a build or test for all of these different, because you're going to have to Series X, Xbox One X, S, the base one, the day one, all of those different SKUs, xCloud now as well. But I kind of feel that means, for me, reading that means that I can take my Cyberpunk, my Xbox One X Cyberpunk, and just take it to my Series X. The game already looks gorgeous. It's already kind of running in 4K HDR. Hopefully they don't but it's already doing, not native, native 4K, probably 30 frames a second. Put it on the Series X and I just get that. And that would work for me. I'm happy with that. Maybe later. But what I don't want to do is get too far into that game and then suddenly they're like, right, here you go. Here's the power of the X and Cyberpunk. Yeah. And it is just like mind and meltingly gorgeous. So I kind of feel that what I'm trying to say, I guess, is I kind of feel I'm disappointed by the delays. We all are disappointed. I don't know if disappointed is the right word, but I'm kind of a bit bummed about the delays. But I'll get there in September. But the thing is that when a new console comes out, there's going to be Halo. There's going to be Halo, Forza. There's going to be some third-party titles that we're going to want to play. And then suddenly Cyberpunk becomes... It's not new shiny, and if anything, we're very fickle as a gaming. We always want to play that new one. So in November, we're going to want to play that, and Cyberpunk might just unfortunately kind of get pushed to the bottom of our pile of shame.
I think you're right. I think it's a bit like we all know. Like, you've only got to look at like your TV now. I mean, like, you only got to look at your Sky One channels, and you've got all the American dramas that are on there, because they all come out this time of year, because by the time it gets around to summer, they know that no one's going to be indoors, so they generally put out very little content. So I'm the same as you. I saw Cyberpunk as being a 100-hour plus game potentially, that we could get in April. We could mess around with it, and then it would be, we'd play it up to the point where I go on holiday, and I'd come back to it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, obviously, there's lots of games that have not been announced, but it does make you sort of think, okay, what am I going to play? When am I going to get that next big title that I want? Because I'm thinking off the top of my head at the moment, there's nothing I can put my finger on, which I'm thinking, I can't wait till that comes out. At the moment, I like a Gears 5 or a Jedi Fallen Order or something like that. So slightly disappointed, but I totally air the same views of you. It's like, don't release a game until it's ready. We want to be blown away by it. Not slightly disappointed with it. And I think, like you said, about Star Wars, it's like, I want to love this game. Why won't you let me love you? Because it just took that edge off of it when you walked somewhere and there wasn't a floor underneath the stormtroopers and things like that. So I'm fully for it, but it is slightly disappointing. Unless Phil moves the Xbox forward to sort of like September, which would be nice. So he releases it on the 1st September. Then we've got it for day one for Marvel and day one for Cyberpunk.
Yes.
Come on, Phil.
Well, at one point, I was thinking all these games, everyone's moving to the back end, and if I was like Ubisoft, if I was all these guys, I'd want to try and kind of get middle of the year. But you're right. I mean, it always befuddles me, and I know why they do it, because we are supposed to be outside, kind of playing outside, barbecuing in the summer. But the actual reality is, you still have the morning. Now, I'll still wake up on a Saturday morning and play Xbox for 3 hours. I'll still come in when the sun's gone down and game, or play something. So I don't understand why big titles. And for me, if I was going to release something, a big title that not a game as service game, because obviously a lot of your workforce may be off on holiday, so you don't want to release something like Marvel Avengers in July and then everyone goes on holiday, so you don't want to do that. But a game kind of coming out then kind of would always, for me at that point, when I'm like, I'll play anything new, and I'm just like, just give me something. But looking down the list, apart from obviously in February we've got 2 Point Hospital is coming. 2 Point Hospital is coming to Xbox and PlayStation 4, and then in March we've got Ori and the Will o' the Wisp, we've got Doom Eternal, we've of course got Animal Crossing as well. So there's like, March is sorted, and that's why I'm looking for a big game, because I see from kind of now to the 25th of February when 2 Point Hospital comes out, I don't really see anything. There's a big lull. Luckily I'm going away for holiday for 2 weeks, but there's a big lull there where I'm kind of like, I just want something. And so these games moving out. And the other games that have also moved out, it's Final Fantasy VII has moved to the 10th of April.
It's about a month,
I think it was supposed to be March, wasn't it? I think it was like
March or something like that, yeah.
And Dying Light has been moved, but with no date. So Dying Light is just like, we're not shipping whenever they were going to ship, early spring 2020. They're delaying that, but no date. As of time of this morning when I had a quick squint around, and Iron Man VR said that they need a little bit more polish due to the expectation. So I think they've maybe they're starting to get a bit of a buzz, and now they're like, oh, we need to kind of tidy this game up a little bit, and that's coming out on the 15th of May.
I think you're right, because I too am holding on to my PSVR for that, because I think we both saw, we didn't get to play it unfortunately, but we both saw it at EGX, and it did look quite funky and a fun game to play. So I think I've been listening to a few podcasts today, and Doom Eternal people are raving about.
Yes,
I think I was listening to IGN's Unlocked podcast, and I think it was Ryan got about 3 hours with it, and
oh wow,
and he said it was swear word good. So that's peaked in my. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan. I didn't give it enough chance. I'm not sure of the 2016 Doom. So Eternal was on my radar, but it was off my radar, if you know what I mean. But I think that's back on my radar at the moment. I think I might well give that a go.
Play 2016 Doom now.
Yeah.
Play that game now. I mean, that game, I fired it up the other day and played the arcade mode where you can play for a level and get a high score.
Yeah.
And I forgot how good that game is.
Yeah.
Even if you put it down to, don't go all the way down to easy, but even if you kind of put it down like a level, play that game. It's available on Game Pass, so it's free and it's available on Game Pass.
Yeah.
But play that game. That is a game that will keep you going for a while, because the thing I loved about that game is it wasn't just so much a shooter, because you did have to get in melee. Whenever the enemy started to flash, you could kind of get in and get quite a brutal takedown, and that's how you got more health, and that's how you got kind of stuff like that. But it looks stunning.
Yeah.
It's 60 frames a second. It's 4K.
I suppose
on the OLED.
I've not played it on the OLED as well. So I might jump back into that, because it looked good on the 4K LED I had. So I would imagine that looks stonking on the OLED.
Jump back in, restart the game from start, because this is what I'm thinking about doing. Because after I think I saw Digital Foundry had a bit of a teardown of Doom Eternal, and it looks even better than Doom. But I would highly recommend kind of like jumping in there and just give it a bit of a blast. Like I say, drop it down maybe one level, just so you can really kind of have run and gun fun with it rather than getting frustrated, and you'll have an absolute blast, because that game is awesome.
was just thinking game-wise, we've got Last of Us Part 2, but I've just actually looked because that's in one of our news articles. But that's May, isn't it? That's not out until May, so that's middle of the year as well. So yeah, I might be dooming it. I think I might do that. I think I might doom it for a little while.
I would. I'd like, you put the headphones on and just play that game. That game is just amazing. And then obviously you've got Resident Evil 3 is coming out in April as well. So there is. I mean, there's something for us in February, which is 2 Point Hospital. There's a lot for us in March, which is Doom and Animal Crossing. And then April you've got Resident Evil. May you've got Last of Us Part 2. And again, as you were saying, there's probably a whole bunch of
we've got E3 then, haven't we? So and
then we're just going to start getting excited about the new shiny. So it just kind of continues going that way. So that's the delays. Like I say, they're unfortunate, but they can't be helped. And I'd rather those developers deliver what they want, because there's nothing worse than firing up the game that you've been looking forward to and really want to play, and it's just bad, and you're just like, why didn't they take the time? So I just want them to be able to take the time and also not kill themselves making this game for us as well. I don't want to know that there's blood, sweat and tears. Obviously you want passion in these games, but you don't want to know that people have just been kind of haven't seen their families for weeks on end, just so we can have a bit of enjoyment. It kind of taints it slightly. So
definitely.
Delays are not good, they're not fun, but at the same time, let's just get that game out. So Stu, 2020 is also going to be a big year for the Big Blue, so explain yourself, sir.
Yeah. I mean, so 2020 is the year of the Xbox, the new consoles, the new PlayStation, but apparently 2020 is also the year of Sonic, according to Kotaku.
According to Sega.
No, I was fumbling through the news today, and this came up and just made me chuckle. So I read the article, and it's like, if 2013 was the year of Luigi, we're thinking about you, James. It looks like 2020 is shaping up to be the year of Sonic. In an announcement last night, this was last night, the 21st. Sega confirmed it would be sharing new information about everyone's favourite blue hedgehog every month this year. A translated version of the statement says the new project, dubbed Sonic 2020 original, will deliver various new information and products related to Sonic. Will be launched every month on the 20th during 2020. There is no word on what those new projects will be yet, but if you're so inclined, you could pick up a bunch of special artwork to celebrate this scheme, or submit fan artwork for Sega to feature on its official channels. The statement says that a variety of related events are scheduled throughout the year to build momentum ahead of Sonic's 30th anniversary next year. So surely next year's a year of Sonic. Anyway, presumably that points vaguely into the direction of a new game. Team Sonic Racing was released last year, but the last traditional Sonic games were Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces, both released in 2017. And obviously, don't forget, you have the awesomely awaited Sonic movie is coming out next month. So apparently this is January's Sonic announcement. So there you go.
Right.
I've just given you the Sonic announcement for January. I would imagine next Sonic announcement next month is going to be the movie.
Right.
And then then March is going to be that there'll be a Sonic 2 movie, because the first movie went down so well. Maybe not.
Isn't the first movie out on Valentine's Day?
Is it?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Yes, yeah. Oh, you'll be in America and I'll be in Amsterdam, so.
Yeah. Well, I said to, because I always like to go. Obviously, I'm not going to go on my birthday because I've been Galaxy's Edge, but there's a really cool cinema in Disney Springs.
All right.
So I said to Nicola, we need to go, but I might go and see Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of Harley Quinn, because the second trailer of that made that film look good. The first trailer made it look like a big poo, but the second trailer, I was like Nicola stopped and she was like, that looks good, and I was like, I know, right? And then so the second trailer, they've definitely cut that right, and so now it's like it might be a kind of, we'll go to cinema while we're awake.
I'm definitely the second trailer for Sonic actually made me sit there and go, okay, this actually doesn't look too bad. Okay, Jim Carrey's doing his usual role. I wish he would do something different, but this could be this. I don't think it's going to be a cinema watch for me, but it's definitely going to be a wait till it comes on Sky, and I will watch it. But yeah, I have whatever. I mean, I like Suicide Squad, but I have a soft spot for Harley Quinn, and Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad was brilliant. I thought she was phenomenal good in it. And I think she's a very talented actress, so I'll definitely be going to see that.
But yeah, though, I mean, like I say, that second trailer just kind of really kind of just changed the whole kind of the way they were approaching that movie. So it'd be quite interesting to see what that's like. But that may be a kind of a treat while we're away. So next piece of news is with you. You doubled up.
I know, 2 in a row. Yeah. So the next is some leaked pictures on the forum NeoGAF. I think we've ascertained this isn't James's carpet because there's no straw from the bunnies on it, or no bunny fur, and we think it's not Phil's carpet because I think he would have better carpet. But there has been some leaked photographs apparently of the Xbox Series X console.
Yes.
So basically, shared on the forum NeoGAF, the photos seem to show the prototype of the next Xbox console, which is likely to be shared by developers working on titles for the Xbox Series X. But I'm not sure generally they go out in a heavily disguised wrapper rather than the actual true wrapper, so I'm not sure how true that is. There's a barcode on the hardware, meaning that Microsoft is likely to be chastising the poster of these questions as we speak. The images above is more interesting as it shows that the rear vents of the console, as well as that there will be a USB, HDMI, SPDIF, power and Ethernet on the back. This is this the final design question mark? It's unlikely. A previous render from AMD, which I believe was at CES, showed off 2 HDMIs on the back, which was the one in, the one out, just like they have on the Xbox One, which I think would be interesting if they still run with that. But AMD did admit later that these weren't official specifications. The console's likely to be tweaked over the next few months. There's also a single USB port on the front of the console. A second leak image showed below where we expected to include a pair. Please put 2 on it. I find it really annoying that there's only one on the front of. Is there only one on the front of the X, or isn't there? I think there's only one on the front. Is there 2 or 1 or 2?
I think there's 2, isn't there? Is there 2?
Or is it one on mine doesn't work? I can't remember. I know I have to constantly reach around the back to get to the other one, which is really, really annoying. But yeah, so basically, this looks legit, but it looks like, because the little Xbox logo looks nice and shiny, not like it's been 3D printed, and it doesn't look like there's been loads of printing lines on it. But yeah, I think there's a few rumours going around today about what it's going to have. And I think everybody seems. I saw it on every single website, so everybody seems to be pretty hungry for this. So as long as it has HDMI 2.1 sockets, and as long as it has good ventilation and is a powerful little beast, that's all I really care about.
So yeah, I mean, just fact checking, the Xbox One X has 1 USB at the front.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's why I get annoyed, because I've got a Seagate spinny drive, which kept on going wrong on me, and well, not going wrong, but I kept on having to unplug it and plug it back in again. So I got an SSD. Which I've got to say, actually, anybody who's got an Xbox out there, get yourself an SSD. They're not cheap, but my God, they're so much quicker than the spinny disk hard drives. But I still got games on the other one, so I have to keep one round the back and then keep one round the front, and mine's in an AV rack, so it's a pain in the proverbial getting to it. So please, Microsoft, put two USB connections on the front.
No, that'll make it look ugly. I want it minimal. I mean, I must admit. So when do you think we're going to hear more about Series X? Because obviously, right now the game that everybody's playing is, when are we going to hear more information? For me, I kind of feel that Xbox will wait until E3 now.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Do you think like E3 is the next time we hear about this, but between now and E3 time we'll hear something from Sony?
I think Sony have already announced that they're not coming to E3. They haven't.
Yeah.
They haven't announced that they're not going to do something around E3. But they have. But I think we'll see something from Sony, because I think they have to now with Microsoft coming out in the Game Awards in December. I think we'll hear something from them maybe February, March.
Right.
I'm not sure, because they launched the PS4. They showed that for the first time in about February or March, I think. So I don't know whether they go whole hog, because there's a lot of rumours going around about teraflops. We have the flops are back again, Antony. It's a year of the flops, and so far the official flops I think are 12 point something for the Xbox and 9 point something for the PlayStation. So I think Sony are on the back foot slightly, but then Sony never really. They could be quite arrogant sometimes in respects of we're Sony, we'll shout about it when we're ready, and we have the platform and the gamers to support it. So I think we're here February, March maybe. I would like to think we get a full release, and then I think Microsoft have got the stage. They've got the E3 stage. They've got the Microsoft Theatre. So I think you'll either see something before E3 from Microsoft, because then they have other stuff to show at E3, or they go full out next gen at E3.
Absolutely. I've just been looking at Reddit, the source of all of the solid news, and I just saw that there could be there's a rumor going around at the moment of an event on either the 12th or the 13th of February.
Right. Okay.
And so
that's not an event to show off the new logo. We know that must take hours to do that.
Oh my god, that was a delete. That was just a delete the 4 and put a 5 in quickly. We need to show that we're going to have a Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
And that was kind of which is big news, I guess. Which is kind of quite big that they got that Blu-ray player on there at last.
In fairness to Sony, I believe the reason they didn't have the Blu-ray player on the PS4 Pro is because they actually didn't have a 4K Blu-ray player out, as in the AV world. They didn't have a 4K Blu-ray player that you could actually go and buy from, your Currys or your John Lewis. So I don't think they had fully developed that format yet. So I don't think they had one to put in the console.
Yes.
But the other thing I've heard going around at the moment. Do you think this will be the last generation we'll see disc-based media? Do you think we're going to go digital media in our Xbox 2Xs?
Wow.
Because I can't help but think I think there's going to be a Series S coming out, which would be a lower powered Xbox, and I do believe we will see another iteration of the all digital edition, because otherwise why would they have done it? It's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. But I could see this being the last generation that will have optical media in it.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a lot of the time where there was reports or kind of off the cuff comments where they're kind of keeping that there because they needed to keep in play with the likes of Game and GameStop in America and Amazon, because they're not going to stock their consoles if you can't come back. But now that we've got a better model around that, where those people can sell kind of cards, but obviously the problem is that we're a bit spoiled because we've both got nice fast broadband, but it's kind of those people that don't have fast broadband. If you're trying to download a 100 gig game, unless you kind of have that ready on the server so you can download it weeks in advance, then it's going to cause a problem. If you, and also bandwidth caps as well. I'm on an unlimited download, but if I wasn't, a couple of games that month, and if I've only got a terabyte to I've got a 100 gig game and I've got a terabyte hard drive and I need to shuffle them, so I need to delete them every now and then. Suddenly, that doesn't become an option. Luckily that doesn't play for me because my broadband's fast and I'm unlimited, but a lot of people, they do have capped broadband or slow broadband, because wherever they are, they could be rural, they could be wherever.
So I look at Call of Duty last year, that had that day one, or that had the disc, wasn't it? Because I bought the disc because Call of Duty is that usual game that I buy and then flog it on, or haven't.
Yeah.
But it was only something like 8 gig on the disc, and you had to download 90 gig or something stupid. Yeah. So, like I put the disc in, and then for me it downloaded overnight. So I think it took from 8 or 9 o'clock on the Friday night till 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and the next morning to download the game. So yeah, I think you're right. And then also there is the second-hand market. There are the games like CES, and Game and that, which, they do make business on selling the games on. So what do we do? And I know we've talked about it before, so I won't go on about it too much, but what do we do about that? That fact that we want to trade that game and we don't want it anymore. Someone else wants it, so can we sell it on to them at a cheap price so they get to play it?
And also, that Microsoft and Sony would also have to figure out how they're going to do. So I've got an Xbox One X game, and it's a disc, and I go up to my new console, and I don't have a disc drive.
Yeah.
I've bought that game. How do I play that?
Yeah.
Do I have to keep my old console, or are you going to give me some kind of trading deal that renders? It's an interesting one, and I love kind of talking about new consoles and but I'm not getting too kind of hung up on what the next one's going to be because I want this one out first.
Yeah.
So and if you remember before the Xbox One, everyone was saying that that would be the last.
Yeah.
That would be the last one. We'd never get another disc-based machine, but we're getting one, which is a Series X. And so I'll be kind of I want to get stuck in where we are at the moment, which is that Series X, and that's the thing that's kind of like, I sit there sometimes thinking about that console. I just can't wait.
we need to 3D print you one, don't we?
Exactly. I can't wait to kind of. I want that presentation where they kind of show you the interface and you kind of see all of that. I kind of really want, as much as I want to experience it myself for the first time. I will drink up anything that kind of anything that kind of comes out from Microsoft or Sony, and even rumored that we might get a Switch Pro, and that might even come out, but. Just for my bank balance sake, I could do with the Switch Pro going to be next year rather than because it's already hard getting past my banker that is Nicola, that like go, and there's a new Switch as well, but yes, it's all good. Speaking of future tech, Project xCloud has got 15 new games.
Hey.
So last night, time of recording, so on the 21st, last night, Project xCloud, they dropped 15 new games into the service. So Microsoft dropped 15 new games into the Project xCloud service, kind of just they're ready for us to kind of play right now. Interestingly, if you're in Canada, so if you're listening to this in Canada, there should at least be one listener in Canada. That's my brother. He kind of downloads and listens every week, so hello, Mike. So at least we got one. xCloud is coming to Canada. xCloud is coming to Canada, and it's going to be available on the 29th. So there is that, obviously, that normal sign up. They have opened up the sign up quite a lot now, so it's kind of easier to get in than it was at the start. But you can just go to Microsoft.com and you'll be able to sign up for your Canadian xCloud beta. But as I was saying, last night they dropped 17 new games and some biggies. They dropped Halo Master Chief Collection, Sid Meier's Civilization 6, Wastelands 2, the Director's Cut, The Surge, a couple of games from Telltale, which was Batman, the Telltale series, and Batman, the Enemy Within. They dropped Wolf Among Us, also a Telltale. Super Hot, Portal Knights, Kingdom 2 Crowns, Goner, Sparklight, Tracks, the train set game, Stuart's favourite achievement, and also Train Sim World 2020. Ooh. So those 16 games, as well as in this list, they haven't listed Forza Motorsport 7, also dropped last night. I couldn't get into Forza Motorsport 7 for some reason. I was bouncing around. So that's also been added, and a game called Black Desert as well. But most importantly, or most interestingly, is that Destiny 2 became available on Project xCloud. Now, I know this is just a beta, and at some point, those games may disappear from that service, but Destiny 2 is kind of what Stadia is building. It's kind of, look at us, we've got Destiny 2 running in the cloud on any device. Well, Microsoft just blew that out of the water because they just added that as part of 17 or 16 other games, and I jumped in last night, played a bit of Destiny on my little xCloud setup, and it played really well.
Yeah,
and it looked stunning, and it played really well. And I was just like, well, this is fantastic because I don't need to buy Stadia. I'm not going to buy Stadia anyway, but I don't need to buy Stadia because Project xCloud has just kind of blown that out of the water. And I just thought that was a really interesting move by Microsoft.
I think, and I know we've said it before, I think this is a classic example of this is how to roll out a product. is okay. They've got the games behind them, they've got the services behind them, but no one is expecting massive things from this because it's a beta. And they keep on dropping stuff, and and for me, I've had a mixed bag with it. I cannot play it at home. It does not like my broadband here.
Right.
It's as jerky as anything, and annoyingly, I was going to take it with me at the weekend to the exhibition and just pay for the hotel Wi-Fi, the unlimited one you should get for free, but you don't, to see what it was like. But I left the thing here, which is really annoying. So, I still think it needs work. It still needs work for me to be able to. I mean, for me, I want it on iOS. The iPhone is in my pocket, and it's the only way I'm ever going to play it. I'm not going to take my Android phone with me all the time because I don't use Android. But it is brilliant, and then just adding more and more this to it is brilliant. And then just reading at the bottom here, Microsoft has also revealed the services most popular in Korea, with xCloud seeing 1.75 times usage, more than that in the US and UK. It's probably because they've got decent broadband.
Absolutely, and probably haven't bought an Xbox console.
Yeah.
We've probably got low sales figures in Korea, but now they're kind of like they've just got an Android phone. They can just kind of jump in, and then kind of it'll open up so many markets. I've been chatting to guys at work who have they have Android phones, and I'm just like, that's all you need. You can sign up to Game Pass. I mean, obviously not at the moment because it's still that kind of beta, but if you think about it, when that goes live, all they would need is to pay £1, and they've got Game Pass Ultimate for 3 months. They pay £3, and they've got all those games available to them. And both of those guys that I was chatting to, they both got PlayStations, so they can use their DualShock, and then they'll be able to play it. So it's just going to open up so much more, and I just can't wait to see kind of this. And every time I see an xCloud announcement, I'm like you, Stu, I just kind of hope it's like iOS. It's coming to iOS.
I did also hear the other day, talking about Game Pass Ultimate, that Microsoft seemed to be quite heavily pushing it with computer parts. I think it's. I think I was listening to something the other day, and they were building. One of them had just built a new PC, and 2 of the parts that they bought for the PC came with 6 months worth of Game Pass Ultimate. So instantly, just by buying the motherboard or whatever for their computer, the graphics for their computer, they've got a year's worth of Game Pass. So Microsoft are really pushing this, and for me with xCloud is not my gaming platform. It's my second gaming platform. It's my Switch. I like the Switch, but I'm not a massive fan of things like, I'm sorry to say, and I'm probably going to get kicked off the pod for saying this, I'm not going to play Animal Crossing. It doesn't interest me in the slightest. Sorry Antony, sorry James. But for me, I see xCloud as that, as we've said before, it's that I play it here, I then go away, as I said, the week you're in, the week you go to the States, I go to Amsterdam for a trade show. So it's I take it with me. I play some Gears, I mop up some achievements, I have my Xbox in my hand. And I think that's why I haven't gone down the Stadia route. One, because I'm not wholeheartedly trust Google with their platforms, and it still puts me in that position where I want to be collecting achievements. I want to be playing my Microsoft games, not my Nintendo game or my Stadia game. And I've always been a big advocate of, I want to buy that game once, and I want to play it here, and I want to play it remotely. That's what xCloud's going to give me. So, bring it on, but please put it on iOS.
Yes. I reckon that's going to probably come at like E3. Yeah. It sounds like a really good. It sounds like an announcement that we'll either get in one of those inside Xboxes. We haven't had one yet this year. No. Inside Xbox will be like, right, here's an update on xCloud, and it's coming to iOS, or they'll save it for E3 and like available today. iOS, and then everyone goes bananas, and then you'll just be able to play it, and that would just be fantastic. That would be, and then I can give my mate his Android phone back as well.
I was gonna say, actually, because you posted like, I'm playing some Destiny before I go to bed, and I'm like, he's still got the works phone. Oh no, your mate's phone, isn't it? No, it's your mate's phone.
He's not getting that back. I'm taking it to Florida with me. He doesn't know that yet. He'll know it now by listening to this pod. But it's going to Florida with me because I want to try. Because the hotel that we stay at has 160 meg broadband. So I want to see how xCloud looks like on that. I want to see how kind of quick and fast and kind of speedy that is. So I'm doing that as quote unquote a bit of research just for the pod.
That'll be interesting.
Of course,
that'll be interesting to see. I can't see whether. I can't see it because there are people in the States who have got British or European PlayStation accounts or Xbox accounts, don't they? So I'm just wondering. My mind is thinking in respects of I know, like if I want to buy a US movie, I have to go on a VPN to do it. You'll be on a Wi-Fi with your UK login details, but your network will say you're in America. So I'm just. Yeah. But no, because Phil plays all around the world, doesn't he? So I'm assuming that'll work fine.
Absolutely. I mean, that has happened before. I remember kind of getting my iPad out, joining the hotel Wi-Fi to watch Strictly, and then firing up BBC iPlayer. Nope, can't do that. So I was like, fine, okay, I'll do it on Sky, and then kind of fire up that. Nope, you can't do that. You're outside the UK, and I'm like, oh damn it, But because I didn't want to put a VPN on my iPad, but yeah. So that is xCloud. 15 new games coming to Canada. It continues to be awesome. Stu, the last piece of news is with you, sir. Bring us home.
I picked this one out because it was looking at The Last of Us Part 2. There's a job listing looking for a PC programmer. So the article reads, this is from GameSpot, the article reads, a new job listing posted by Naughty Dog says the developer is looking for someone with a background in PC programming to join the team working on the upcoming PlayStation 4 exclusive Last of Us Part 2. The job listing is for a graphical programmer who will join Naughty Dog's rendering team to develop and implement new and existing rendering techniques for The Last of Us Part 2. The successful applicant will need either console or PC gaming program experience, and have thorough understanding of current GPU architecture and experiences of APIs. Here's the full list of requirements. I'm not even going to read that. I wouldn't get it. Strong math skills. Yeah, failed my GCSE twice, and it's in 3D maths. What 3D maths? I'm bad enough with 2-dimensional maths, let alone 3D.
Wow. Yeah. Black and white maths when you were at school.
It's when my teacher turned around and went, "Really? You want to take it a third time? What's the point?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, thank you." A single job listing is not concrete proof of anything, but Kotaku reported that the PS4 exclusive Horizon Zero Dawn is on its way to PC. It might not be completely outlandish to suggest another Sony-owned developer could release the game on this platform. That's why I put this story up, because I find this really interesting, because I'm not 100% sure whether I'm going to buy the PS5.
Right.
Purely for the fact of that I very rarely play my PS4 now, and I don't enjoy playing my PS4. I just even though I've got the controller for it, I don't know. I do prefer playing my Xbox. Think of that what you wish. So actually, because I've got a HP Omen gaming laptop, this really interests me, because it's like, okay, that means that I don't have to do it on my PlayStation. I could just play it on PC. So, and I think it's good. I like the fact that Sony are potentially going, okay, we've got our our single party exclusives, but okay, we're not going to give them to Xbox, but let's put them on PC so people can play them even if they're not on the PlayStation architecture. So I just think that's really good. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love that they're just diversifying and getting these games out to other platforms, because there are people that having a high end cutting edge PC is an expensive business, and maybe so expensive that you can't afford to buy a PlayStation and an Xbox for those, but Xbox has got you covered because you just do Game Pass for PC and you've got all those games. But with PlayStation, if you want to play The Last of Us, if you want to play Death Stranding, if you want to play Horizon Zero Dawn, and I mentioned all of those because all of those have been rumoured for PC ports. We know that Death Stranding's coming soon. Horizon was over the weekend, and now this one as well. Yeah, I think this is great. I think the more that Sony can do that, the better it is for them. If they're noticing that there is a revenue stream out there, then do that, and kind of put that out there. But Yeah, I think more power to them for doing that with their first party titles. Like Spider-Man was probably ridiculously underplayed because not a lot of people, because it's a PS4 exclusive. That game is fantastic. It's phenomenal. And I don't know if we'll go as far as seeing those IPs on Xbox and vice versa, but well, we already have Xbox IPs on PlayStation. We have Minecraft. We're going to have Minecraft. We're going to have Minecraft Dungeons is coming to PS4 in April. So those things do happen. But those big kind of first party, would we ever see Gears of War on a PlayStation? Would we ever see Spider-Man swinging onto an Xbox? I can see the former. I could see Gears and Halo. Being on a PlayStation, I really can. Maybe not day and date, but almost like Microsoft have the timed exclusive, because what we've got to remember is Microsoft have put their camp out firmly for the fact that the first party come out day and date on Game Pass. Mm-hmm. So there is a revenue stream there that they potentially might have lost. It's a hard one to work out. So actually, if they say, well, look, come onto Xbox and you can play it for free, or as part of Game Pass, but if you're on PlayStation, we still want you to play it because it's a really good game. So you pay $60 or £69.99 or whatever. So there is that revenue there. The other way around, I'm not sure. I don't think Sony would. One day maybe, hopefully, because I think, as you said, I did hear a podcast where they were talking about the games, the games of the decade, top selling games of the decade, and I think it was either the decade or last year. I can't remember now, but there wasn't one single first party game in this list. It was. Oh, was that the MPDs for the decade?
Yeah, so it was all the ones we expected.
It's all Call of Duty,
FIFA, all that lot. But there wasn't one single party game, until very, very low down the list. So, okay, we know why, because it's only really getting paid by half of the world potentially. That's a lot of money they're losing out on. A lot of money. So I can see Microsoft definitely, and I can see, and especially if Switch Pro comes out, I can see you playing Halo on a Switch Pro. It's the other way. It's the other way around. It's whether Sony will come and play at the party.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me would be, as we've spoke about before in the pod, is that if they did xCloud on the Switch,
yes.
They, and obviously at GDC last year they were talking about kind of extensions for the Switch, and everyone went bananas for that. That we could see xCloud come to the Switch, and we could be seeing what I was playing last night, but on a Switch. That would be incredible. But how much of a ballsy move would it be if Microsoft just went, here you go, here's the Gears of War collection.
Yeah.
Take the one that's in Game Pass and just put it on PS4.
Yeah,
does that show you're desperate, because then suddenly you're kind of. But there's about 40 million Xboxes. There is 106 million PlayStation 4s. That's a lot of revenue. That even if kind of like 20% of those people bought it. I mean, some of my friends they've only got a PlayStation. They've never played Gears. They've never played Halo. They've never played Forza.
Yeah. So I couldn't believe it. I can't imagine that. I mean, okay, I know I could be hypocritical because I've not played Horizon Zero Dawn and I've not played, all of God of War. But yeah, I mean, I think when it comes down to revenue, I think it's not so ballsy, because if you flip it to technology, you look at like Tesla, and you look at when they came out with the Model S. Elon stood on stage and went, look, here's how we made the car. This is how we're doing it. Everybody copy. Yeah. No one copied it. No one took it. No one took that information. None of the big companies. And I watched an infographic on Twitter the other day which showed you how much Tesla is worth now in the US market alone. And it watches them just go up and up and up the table to they're twice the size of Fiat Chrysler now, or something like that in the US. That's Chrysler. That's a US brand. Yeah. So I can see Microsoft doing that because they are a software company more than they are a hardware company.
I mean, I think it would take xCloud. sorry, not xCloud. It would take Series X to lose the next generation for that to happen. I think seeing Xbox One being behind Sony by allegedly, because we don't know how many Xboxes, but seeing it being behind by about 50%. Let's say 50%. That's why we've got Game Pass. That's why we've got xCloud, because Microsoft have been behind it, and they have accelerated these things. We had Games with Gold. Games with Gold was great, but Game Pass exists because Microsoft were behind and they want people to come over. So that's where that is. It's a mixture of that, and it's a mixture of Phil's vision as well. But the two of those things are because Microsoft are behind, are because there is about a 50-60 million gap between the consoles. If that happened again, and all those people that had PS4s stayed on the PS5, and we only had a handful 20, 30, 40 million Series X, you could see Microsoft either going, right, okay, here's a Gears of War collection, here's a Halo collection, here's all of that, here's xCloud on Sony's platform. You could see things like that kind of happening, I think, personally.
Yeah, and I see where you're coming up. I think Microsoft are setting it up. They are. It's where everything's going now. It's where media in general is going. Is that digital side? That creating content. Like with Apple TV Plus, Netflix. Exclusives on Spotify. I think it's going to be interesting, but I do think if Sony rest on their laurels, let's face it. Looking at the specs which are coming out, the Xbox is going to be far more powerful than the PlayStation. It is going to be a beast, and I think people won't be able to sit there and go, "Oh, I'll play," because at the moment it's like I'll pay such and such on the Xbox because that Kotaku or Digital Foundry is saying it looks better on the Xbox. There is going to be none of those reports going forward if that graphical gap is that big, because you'll know it's going to look better on Xbox. And the fact is that I do believe that Microsoft are more open to playing nicely with others. Where Sony, again, it sounds like I'm being disrespectful to Sony, but I know them so well. Sony don't even talk to their own departments, let alone external things. And I think Phil would quite happily sit there and go, have one of the the Master Chief collection or something like that. But I don't think Sony would take it because they're too proud. They're too proud to take it. But it's interesting. I know we're going to have this conversation this time next year about something completely different, and the year after, and the year after that. So, but that's what I love about technology and entertainment and gaming is that there's so many different facets to it that it's just constantly has everybody on podcasts and friends and family talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. This year is just such a ginormous year, isn't it? It's such a ginormous year for games. Having those two consoles coming out same year, and plus we've got some big games that we don't even know about yet. Like I say, but that's
the best thing. There's things out there that are still going to wow us. If you going back to our xCloud thing, did you know that? Because obviously Telltale or New Telltale have re-released the Batman stuff. Did you know there's a noir mode in Batman now?
I did indeed, yeah. It looks so cool. It looks really good. It's like black and white with red popping.
Yeah, I never completed the whole of that. So that straight away made me think, that'd be really moody and quite good to play. We've got WB Montreal, teasing us, with a Batman game. So
killing me on a weekly basis. But
that's what's great. We've spent a lot of this podcast talking about what's been delayed, what we know is coming, but there's still a lot that we don't know coming. Viva Pinata, a new Viva Pinata apparently is coming. And
that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You can't goad me. Don't troll me. I won't believe a new Viva Pinata is coming until I see that box art. Until I see, it's just like I just cannot wait. I cannot wait for E3 to come along and just kind of have that. This year's E3 is going to be amazing. Obviously E3 is a bit of a weird one at the moment because of what's with Sony kind of pulling out. But Microsoft's that Sunday evening, 9 o'clock, I'll be there.
Definitely.
Waiting. We'll all be there just kind of like, come on, give it to us. What are we going to see here? And I just cannot wait. And hopefully throughout the year we'll kind of get continually teased as well. But it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. Right. I think we've talked enough about Series X and PlayStation 5s and leaks and xCloud, so it's time to wrap up this episode. Huge thank you for listening. Stu, huge thank you for pulling up a mic and chatting with me.
Enjoyed it as always. Thank you for having me on board again.
Don't forget you can keep up with us at gamersandlostspark.com. We'll have that big list of Stuart's games if he sends it to me in time.
Find it.
We'll have that big list of games. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter. We're at Lost Spark Pod. Stu, where can people catch up with you, sir?
You can mainly find me on the Xbox and PSN as General Letdown, and on Twitter and Instagram as Mr. Stuart Burgess.
Ooh, what are you on the Instagram?
I've been on the Instagram for ages. I just keep forgetting to tell people that I'm on Instagram because I use that more than Twitter.
Right, is that more your kind of like work thing? Like Steve has Craft and Cars. James has got Crochet. Link in the show notes, of course, to both of those. Has got Crochet. What's yours? Is it more kind of your more of the kind of worky stuff, or is it more kind of you?
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Stuart Burgess is me, so that's more about me talking about me stuff and running, or not so much running at the moment because I'm injured. So yeah, I also have Immersive Cinema Rooms, which is the company's Twitter, or the cinema side of the company's Twitter. So if you want to see some of the installs that I talk about on here, including my award-winning cinema,
yes, congratulations.
Yes, and so that's on Immersive Cinema Rooms. But generally to see what I'm getting up to, and when I try a vegan KFC, which I really do regret, you can look at Mr. Stuart Burgess.
Excellent stuff. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch, PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersandlostspark.com. We've done it, Stu. Your first one of 2020.
Yay.
So say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.